Hi, I'm Emily,
And I'm Coco.
and we're from the Santa Barbara Middle School Team Press, and today we're here with...
Sterling HYLTIN.
And TILER PECK.
Nice to meet you. Okay. New York City Ballet is a company specifically dedicated to Balanchine's technique, and all the company members are trained together at SAB, everyone learning the same style of dance. How do you think this unique trait sets you apart from other companies around the world?
Well, you want to start?
Basically, because we all start at the School of American Ballet, or we don't maybe start ballet there, but we have all had to have that training. Like 99% of the company has had to go through School of American Ballet. So that's really where we learn the style of dance. And sometimes, you only need a year of it, basically, but it's like a finishing school for ballet. And so it teaches you a certain type of attack that you need to have to dance Balanchine ballets. And so it's really imperative that you spend that time at School of American Ballet. And so it helps.
You also start learning the rep that we do in the company. So you, from like an earlier age, are kind of thrown a whole bunch of choreography, which if you're in the New York City Ballet, you have to be able to kind of like retain a lot of information and a lot of ballets because we're constantly doing new ones. So I think that's also something, and like musicality, I think is very different from like a Russian style technique as opposed to the Balanchine. So I think to have all of us go through SAB kind of makes some sort of unison before getting into the company.
A lot of you are literally like a giant family. Does this affect the competitiveness in the company, and does it ever get in the way of some of the dancing?
I would say our company is probably the least competitive as a whole because we do all grow up together. And so I think that there's a certain sort of familial, like we all just feel so much like a family, that there's a support. I mean, it's still hard, it's very competitive, but I think that really at the end of the day, people stand in the wings to support one another. At the, by the time when push comes to shove, even if maybe you don't see your name on the the rehearsal schedule for a ballet you'd love to learn, it's still at the end of the day, I think we're all really in each other's corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Ballet as a profession is usually viewed as a little unusual because of all the stereotypes around it. How do you personally hope to change people's opinions of ballet?
Well, I think most of what people know of ballet is like, from Center Stage or Black Swan, and yes, in a sense that shows kind of what a company is like, but I think it really does, focus on the competitiveness and the cattiness and the, eating problems and all those things that can result from being a ballet company. But, that's just a few people. It doesn't represent all of us. And especially in our company, they take, like eating disorders and things like very seriously. And if you can't dance, if they think you're too skinny. So, we don't have a lot of those things that I think a lot of audience people that don't know about ballet and watch Center Stage or Black Swan think, oh, the ballet world is like that, and that must be, so difficult.
I think also, I think that every workplace has negative stereotypes. Everyone, in every job. And so just because our stereotypes sort of can be dramatized in a sort of interesting way, like they do in these movies, like they are in these movies, I just want to be careful that all that negative drama, which is here, to an extent, but what else also here is an incredible amount of work and an incredible amount of intelligence and love and passion. And, that's some stuff that gets lost. I mean, I think maybe the work, is shown in these movies, but just the day in and day out and the friendships and the support system you have to have, and really like an incredibly grueling schedule, but it's a labor of love. So I think it's important that people know that there's like also good stereotypes, or there's good things too, even though the movies choose to concentrate on some of the more negative ones.
Okay. Tyler, you spent some time on Broadway and on the town. How did this new style of performance affect the way you see ballet now?
I actually have a very different coming into the ballet world. I actually came from the Broadway world into the ballet. So I think the way my background, how I started dance and did all sorts of things, kind of affected my whole ballet career. And I think it's, very kind of strange the way I got into the New York City Ballet coming from what I did. I mean, I first learned of SAB when I was doing the Music Man on Broadway when I was 11. So it wasn't really like when I was a young girl, New York City Ballet was like what I wanted to be in. I'm so glad that that's the route my life ended up leading, but I'm really grateful for those other experiences because I think they really help my dancing and me being me in the New York City Ballet.
Last night, one of the pieces was performed with a cellist on stage. How does performing with a live musician affect your dancing?
I mean, I would say it's absolutely amazing because, it's live. You said it. And sometimes it's slower than you want. Sometimes it's faster than what you want. Sometimes it's absolutely perfect. Sometimes, they're human too, so it's the live show. And sometimes, mistakes are made or something. I mean, very, very rarely. But it just sort of adds to the excitement of it all. And there's days that, honestly, we have such long days and such long rehearsals that by the time the show rolls around, sometimes you're sort of you're so tired you're nauseous, but like you're putting makeup on and you're like, I don't know how this is going to happen. And then I always remember about the musicians and that moment on stage where essentially they're playing for me. It's like it's my music, and it sort of actually is sort of the motivation at the end of the day.
Anything else?
No, that's that.
Okay. You all have a very evident, intense passion for dance. How do you hope to pass that on to the next generation of dancers?
I hope that, the type of dancers that I always enjoy watching are the ones that you feel something from them. And so I always hope that, if students come to the show or younger generations come, that they end up leaving feeling inspired and, like they could take something away from the performance. So that's always the type of dancer that I was drawn to when I was younger. But I don't know.
Okay. Have you ever had a moment of clarity in your dancing? When was it and what was it?
Wow. I feel like it's actually happened. It happens over a period of time. There's different definitions of clarity, whether it's you notice a moment you can look at your partner that you never noticed before, or a moment of clarity where you're just like, there's nowhere else on earth I'd rather be. It all happens at various times, and and that's what's so great is that the moments of clarity seem to always reinvent themselves, and that's what sort of keeps us interested and keeps the motivation alive and the passion alive. It's great.
Can we wrap it up now?
I have to leave.
All
But
right.
Sterl can.
Thank you
I don't
so
know what
much.
she. Okay, it was nice meeting you.